is he him?
Sure.
All right. So CJ Stroud, we talked about him already. Is CJ Stroud him? Is Tyrese Maxey him? This is a crossover segment. We're talking about football and basketball.
Do I have to pick one or the other?
No. We're going to go through each of them. I'm going to go through each of them. And you're the ultimate decider here. You don't even, if you don't want to let me convince you, you don't have to. If you want to kick to me for a tiebreaker, if you're on the fence, you can. But you're the ultimate
weight
decider.
On my shoulders, though,
Yes. And the definition of him, I Googled it earlier, is someone with supreme and utter confidence. A person who, I don't know, Lord Google is not up on my computer right now, but it's like somebody with that big dick energy, basically. That's what it means to be him. So I think that it's more about swag than it is about being really good. But what we're doing here is Casey criteria. All right.
Yeah, I think there's a clutch element that comes to mind for sure when I say him.
Sure.
Yeah,
he's like, who do I want ball in hand with the game on the line?
That's exactly it.
All right, so let's kick it off with CJ Stroud. 2 weeks leading passing yards. He's got a dub over the Bengals. Texans have a winning record. They might make the playoffs. He's getting better every week. Is it too soon? Is it too soon to call him him? I mean, that's the only thing here, because in the last, if we're getting on the CJ Stroud bandwagon, you got to look at this guy and be like, he's him. Look at him. This is a rookie. What? He keeps getting better every week. What? They get film on him and he's still better. It's not like, oh, teams are adjusted. It's like, no, he keeps getting better, more good. It's not like he's having this regression. That's common with rookies. But are we ready? I mean, what has he played? 9 NFL games? Is CJ Stroud him, Casey?
I think for the Texans of Houston, CJ Stroud is him. There's no two questions about it at all.
For House Texans, he's definitely him. Yeah.
It's the most exciting thing to happen to that franchise since JJ Watt by a mile, and probably even, given the importance of the position, probably even more exciting than JJ Watt, if we're being honest.
Right.
There's just a smaller sample size, right? So if he keeps this up, which again, that's a big if, but I kind of expect him to, more or less. I think this guy's going to have a great career, which is the criteria for him. Nobody's saying he has to do anything particular this season. At least that's not my criteria. He doesn't have to go win the Super Bowl to be him this year,
Okay.
He is him. I mean, they don't need another, barring hopefully a terrible injury or anything,
okay,
like that. They're not looking for another quarterback for 10 years.
Okay. I mean, that's okay. Yeah, that's good criteria. Does that, I mean, that's on the scale of the Texans. If somebody's him within a team, to you, are they still is there levels to being him? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's a team him, but on the most difficult bell curve, he's not really him.
I kind of like the view that every team has a
guy,
but I kind of get what you're saying. It feels
like do the Panthers get to have a guy? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're that bad, does it matter how good one guy is?
I don't want it to run too far into the same superstar argument that we have, but maybe not every team has him, if they're just completely in shambles, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think most teams that look like actual professional teams out there, they get to have a guy. They have a guy
they get to have a guy. Yeah.
A guy who has at least won the game for them. Right. That's, I think, kind of the level is do the Panthers have a guy who won the game for them this season? Maybe the Panthers don't have.
I mean, they've got one win. They got one win. Who did that? Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is him.
Adam Thielen is the closest thing to him on the Panthers. That's for sure.
I'm going to just throw this out there right now. Adam Thielen is not him.
That was kind of that's why I like where you came from. Not every team, maybe, but I don't know that a team could have more than one either. So I do think it's team by team basis.
Okay. All right. Next up, Tyrese Maxey. Since James Harden left the Sixers, the 76ers, Tyrese Maxey.
I was confused which Sixers you were talking about until you said that.
Yeah, the Sixers of floor hockey, obviously. Since James Harden left the Philadelphia 76ers of the National Basketball Association, Tyrese Maxey has put up 28 points, 8 assists, and he has shot 43% from the three-point line on a lot of attempts, on 3 or 4 attempts a night. And he has had 3 games where he had over 10 assists. Most notably, he's got a 50 burger. He's got a 50-point game. He is the first 76ers point guard to do that since Allen Iverson in 2005. So big deal. Sixers are currently 8-1. They're leading the East. That's the conference with the Boston Celtics in it. In case you didn't remember it.
Yeah.
Is this the questions here are, is this really sustainable? Is he really is he that guy? Is he a killer? Is he that guy who give him the ball for the last shot? I mean, they've got Joel Embiid. So how often is he going to be that guy who's taking the last shot? But let's say Joel's doubled. Is Tyrese the guy that you're like, yes, give him the ball for the last shot. He's a killer. Those would be the criticisms, but you're a Tyrese Maxey guy. I know you're here for any Tyrese Maxey is him narratives. But there's already a him on the Sixers.
Yeah, bro.
Is Tyrese Maxey him?
How can Tyrese Maxey be him on the 76ers when their him is already there? And Tobias Harris. Harris is clearly him.
Tobias Harris is him. All right. Next thing. Tua Tagovailoa. I think that's it on Maxey, right? He's not him, right?
I mean, I wasn't 100% serious, but that is kind of where I land. Too soon to call. Too soon to pronounce him King Maxey.
I agree. I love that he's stepping up. Love that he's passing more in James Harden's absence.
He's on his path to himdom, but he's not him.
Yeah. He's on his path to himdom. I like it. Okay, next up, Tua Tagovailoa. Career stats for Tua, very well above average. He's got a 70-point game. Not a lot of quarterbacks have a 70-point game. He's leading the AFC East. That's the conference with the Bills in it, in case you forgot. However, he's got no playoff games. He's still only played 45 games. Is Tua him?
Tua is not him. Tua is.
You have a one him per team rule, so that's kind of a crazy rule because
it pretty impossible.
Are we saying both Dame and Giannis couldn't be him because they're on the same team? That's crazy.
I think we know who's him in that equation.
Who?
I mean, based off this so far this season, it's Giannis.
Okay, but what if they both end with 33 points a game for the season?
Yeah, I'm not saying
it's very realistic.
Fluctuate. They can't, but especially in basketball with fewer guys on the field, I'm not going to say, well, they can have two hims. No,
the Lakers can only have. Oh, so you're saying game to game it can change who's him?
Not necessarily game to game. It's like a crown, but it could be earned. It could be transferred throughout the season. Yeah, maybe a time.
The Lakers kind of have two hymns as well.
I don't think it fluctuates game to game.
The Clippers
fluctuate season to season.
The Clippers have 3 to 4 hymns.
I don't know if the Clippers have a hymn. Honestly, I have a single hymn. I think if it's one of those things. What's the saying? If you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, running a 2-quarterback system over there.
I think you got 4 hymns. You got 0 hymns.
So because of Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, not him.
More or less, mostly just he's not ever going to be that guy on his team. He's not. He's involved with why they win for sure, and he's the piece they need. They don't need anybody else. He should also be, hopefully, barring injury, the quarterback for his team for the next 10 years. But it's not going to be the same kind of. He doesn't make Tyreek Hill who he is. Tyreek Hill makes Tua who he is.
Got you. All right, next up.
And Jalen Waddle. There's a lot of guys.
Moving back, I mean, we talked about the NBA a lot during that NFL one of Tua, but okay. Next up, Anthony Edwards. This is an interesting one for your one him per team rule. Anthony Edwards currently putting up 28, 6, and 5 points, assists, rebounds, 36% from the 3-point line. And he's got that BDE. The T-Wolves have the best defense in the West. They're sitting in third in the rest with a 7-2 record. Now, Anthony Edwards, certainly part of the defense, definitely not the defensive anchor by any means. That would be like McDaniels and Rudy for sure. But he's got that energy. Draymond Green fouled him hard the other night in their game against the Warriors. Draymond, of course, talking says, "What you going to do? What are you going to do about it?" Anthony Edwards goes, "No, nobody's worried about you." And then he gave him 33 points. He's still young. He's just taken over as we don't even know if he's the him on his team. The one him per team rule definitely hinders Ant-Man. But what do you say? Anthony Edwards, is he him?
This one might be the toughest one.
He's never won a playoff series. That would be another knock on him.
I can recognize my bias here. It's actually bias for it's a bias against big men trying to do not big men things. And it's
you don't like Cat shooting the ball. I get it.
I don't like Cat that much. I recognize he might be the most talented. He might be the most himmish on his team, but I would prefer to give the crown to Edwards. I just realized it's probably a bit of a hot take, but I'm down with it. I think he is the best guy on his team. And I think on my point of transferring throughout the season, if Anthony Edwards isn't there yet by season's end, I think he will be.
Okay.
Like you said, he's still young. He's still, this season could be the mountaintop.
Ant-Man is him. according to you. If I'm weighing in on that, I'm saying Ant-Man he's good, and I do think he is the higher ceiling player on that team. He's the highest ceiling player on that team. He currently is in a phase, and I don't know if this will go on forever or not. He will shoot you right out of a game, and that is frustrating.
Well, but what could be more himish than that? That's literally.
I mean, look,
give the guy your.
I guess that is Jordan Poole him? Like,
that's
what are we
him.
talking about here?
He wasn't with the Warriors, that's for damn sure. But that utilization has a big part of it.
Can you be him if you've only got like one win in 10 games? Like, I don't know.
One shot left. You got to drop one play, put your best shooter in the position to make the game-winning basket. Who's it going to be? I mean, on this team, it should be Edwards, right?
On the Timberwolves, it's probably going to be Edwards more than it's not, just because he can create for himself a little bit better. All right, moving on. Next up, going back to the NFL for a couple here. We got Josh Allen. No question, right? Absolutely him. He's got the wins. He's got the deep playoff runs. He's a perpetual top 5 QB. He is in very real danger of missing the playoffs. He does have a loss to the Broncos and the Jets and another bad team that I can't remember off the top of my head. Can you like fall from himdom, and can your team be without a him?
So this is definitely where it changes from our definition of the superstar argument. Whereas I kind of believe once a superstar, always a superstar. It's kind of a status you achieve, and then it's kind of a moniker you have for the rest of your career, even if you're a shade of your former self. But being him is
it's the Patriots. By the way, they lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, that's gross, right?
Yeah.
Being him, I don't see as that at all. Again, once you're no longer the guy who that team wants the ball in the hands of with the game on the line, you're not him anymore. And I think Josh Allen is basically the cat of his team, where I say right now he probably is, but he is in serious danger of by season's end no longer being that guy. And it's largely dependent on his connection with Stephon Diggs, which is just so concerning if you're Josh Allen, because like any diva receiver, which Stephon Diggs definitely qualifies, that's dicey. It's dicey if he works out. I don't really think he could be supplanted by Diggs, but his fate is just too intertwined if they can't figure it out and really get it going. I mean, we're looking at like a rebuild. Who does he go to
every time? Who do we go to? Who does he go to every time it's 3rd and 8? Like, it's got to. Stephon Diggs has to. He has to have like. I mean, if you're watching, I'm just using the eye test here. I don't know the numbers. Diggs has to have like I don't know what you call it in the NFL, but 75% of the usage or targets or whatever on 3rd and long. Like Josh Allen almost won't throw to anybody else in those like 3rd and long. We need a first down situations. He's either running it or he's throwing it to Diggs. So like really, who does Josh like? Yeah, you might want it in the hands of Josh, but Josh Allen wants it in the hands of Diggs, right?
There's a little bit of NFL marketing at play too, where definitely Josh Allen is propped up to be him, where maybe he never really was, and it was Stephon Diggs, more or less. And now we're kind of seeing that happen.
It's always been Diggs.
Yeah, and with a new quarterback, maybe it's more clear that it obviously still would be Diggs. If Josh Dobbs would have gone to Buffalo because Allen got hurt, same situation as Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
and if he was showing out the same way, we'd be like, oh, it was Stephon Diggs all along.
Give me the final word, Casey. Is Josh Allen him or not? As of right now,
Allen he's wearing the crown right now. Same way Cat is. I guess I kind of anticipate he'll lose it.
It's very. I
think he's going to lose it.
Yeah, we got a 4 Kings or whatever situation going on here, where it's like
there's a chance going into 2024 when Jan 1 hits that Josh Allen isn't him.
Okay. Next up, A1 George Pickens, only 2 years into the league. He's a young fella. He's wide receiver 1 on the Steelers. Steelers are 6-3. Here's the thing. Normally, I would say the Steelers don't need a him. They're not good, but they're 6-3. All right. Like at this point, they would have to like really shit the bed to not finish 500. So I think we got to give him a him. And to me, who is it? Is it George Pickens? Is it a defensive player? Is this sustainable for him? Is it too early to call him? What do you think, George Pickens? Is he him?
I like the pick, especially for offense. I
wouldn't. I put Kenny Pickett up there, and I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way. Like there's
no chance.
He's not that guy.
The biggest risk to him is Deontay Johnson, who you could say like that. They're kind of a duo. A lot of production out of both of them.
Yeah.
Pickens does fit the profile a little bit better. He's young. got a super high ceiling, even higher than a great receiver like Deontay, and he makes some huge plays and in ways that are like soul crushing and in flashy ways. But it's TJ Watt, and it's always been TJ Watt on the Steelers. TJ Watt is him.
You can't have an offensive and a defensive him, only one him. That's it.
I think the Steelers are actually a great representation of TJ Watt is so far removed from any other player on the roster that it's an insult to even bring it up.
Let me bring this up because the Niners have an incredible offense and an incredible defense. Do they get to have two hims because they're so good on both sides of the ball?
I don't like breaking my rule for my team, but I mean, even taking off my biased hat, that's the best case you could have.
Yeah, the Eagles maybe could have a case too. The Cowboys could probably have a case. But the Cowboys could have a case with CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons probably.
I don't know if CD is maybe.
I mean, CD's breaking records, man. Like
I'd go Micah there. They're another good the one that comes to mind is like Mahomes and Kelsey. How are they both not? But they're on the same side of the ball even. We haven't really seen either not with the other in a meaningful way. So I'd say that's Mahomes. In the one you laid out, I'd go Parsons. It'd be tough, right? But I'd go Parsons there because I also believe they win more because of their defense than because of their offense. The Niners, their identity is flipped in recent years. They used to win only mainly because of their defense, where I would have said Bosa, reigning DPOY, is him up until CMC makes the roster. And then, I mean, that's as him as it gets, man. That's as him as it gets. So as much as I want to say they have to,
whatever, dude. CMC can't even get a touchdown in 18 games in a row.
18 straight games. What a loser.
He can't even break the game. He can only tie the all-time touchdowns in a row games record. He can't even break it. He's not even that good. No, my take here is none of those guys are him on the Niners. It's Trent Williams. Trent Williams is him. All right, let's go next. So George Pickens, yes, him or not him?
Not him. TJ Watt.
Not him. TJ Watt. Okay. TJ Watt, too far removed. Next up, back to the NBA for one, and then we're going to come back. Donovan Mitchell. This is an interesting one because I think a lot of people say automatic him, right?
Yeah. Who am I missing? Who's 28? Who am I not?
I mean, with your criteria, I didn't know what your criteria was going to be, man. You're going one him for team. Yeah, it's probably Donovan Mitchell, but I'm just saying.
Well, they could be himless. They could be himless.
The whole scale, right? Yeah. So 28.7 points per game. He's currently shooting 36% from the 3-point line. He's averaged 20 points per game or more for his whole career in the regular season. He's hitting a 45% field goal percentage on 20 shots a night. So he's high volume, high scoring, and sneaky. People criticize his defense. He's currently tied for second in the league in steals with Marcus Smart and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and someone else. Jalen Suggs, I think. He's in the playoffs every year, but here's where he's not him. This is where's playoff Mitchell? Why does he keep getting spanked by Jalen Brunson? Why does he never get out of the second round? He's sort of perpetually on the fourth or fifth best team in his division. So it's and this is where I think in basketball, I think you can be a little more strict on him. And I think that you can have more, the Bucks could have two hims, but you also can't be D'Angelo Russell can't be him. You know what I mean? He's had some incredible years on bad teams. Jordan Poole can't be him. He's had some Jordan Poole could be doing really well, but if the Wizards suck, it's in basketball, one player can affect the game so much that if your team sucks, you can't really be him. The Cavs don't suck, but that they always seem to be ceiling at the second round or first round, and they never really get through anything.
What's their record right now?
What are they sitting at? They're at 6. Nope, that's somebody else. I don't know. They have a winning record, and I think they're at 4th in the East. Right?
Oh, I have them at 4-6.
Oh no, they do have a losing record. 4-7, 4-6. Oh,
4-7 now. 4-7, 4-6. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I guess this. I mean,
they were fourth or fifth in the East last year. I guess you seem to me more him is a very recent thing. You can't be a him from years past.
I would count past year's resume in it, but
it's
not necessarily for a different
it's not
team.
Heavily weighted. Yeah.
If you've switched teams, I think that's where it messes up.
So last year was his first year on the Cavs. Right.
So based off of how good they are, they might be himless. This is the best case for it. It's not between two players. It's between, it's probably him, if anybody, but is it anybody?
It's definitely him, if anybody.
Right. Exactly. So Maybe just out of respect for him, I lean towards probably, but it's a similar thing. He's got to like prove they deserve anybody with that title on the team.
He
And
is,
pretty quick.
I
Probably. 4 and
trust him
6 is that's not a good record.
I trust him with the game on the line, and I think he's I think he gets the him title, but they do have to get into a position where they're like a playoff team.
John,
if you're 10th in the East, like you're himless. If you're
and I got him as 11th.
If you're past 11th, yeah. If you're not even in the play-in, then you're himless.
Do the Knicks have a him?
Jalen would be him if they have one. I think if they think it's Julius, I don't think there's a single Knicks fan in the world who watches basketball who thinks Julius Randle is him. Unless they're blind. They might if they're blind, but if they're listening to basketball, if they're blind and deaf, then maybe, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, all these teams kind of in the middle here. I don't know if any of them have hymns. I mean, in
basketball, I make it a little bit more like like Larry Markkinen, best player on the Jazz for sure, but the Jazz are hymnless. Like he's not really that him-ish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's just looking at the East. Even I mean, is Trae Young even? I mean, I know that the franchise wants him to be him, but is he? That's where the line starts.
I think that part of it. So like another guy I had in here to like bring home this Donovan Mitchell point. Another guy I had in here who would be juxtaposed to Donovan is Tyrese Halliburton. I just know you have too much Tyrese Halliburton bias, so I didn't put him in here. But like Tyrese having a great season this year, Pacers having a great season. I think he's like 24 points, 12 assists a night, like really good. Pacers having a great season this year, but Pacers has never been in. Tyrese has never made the playoffs. He's not made the playoffs once.
Yeah, he's young too.
Donovan's made the playoffs every single year, and he came in as a rookie to a team that just lost its best player and brought him to the playoffs and brought him through a round. So like the resume, I think that's like the flipped version, right? Like Tyrese having a good season in this like very short like NBA window, whereas Donovan has the resume for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tyrese is clearly like, if the season were over today and everything were extrapolated equally to how it's gone so far, he's him, obviously. And I think we're still talking about whether Don is, and he's probably not in that scenario if the same thing is true, right? And like, I guess that's where my line is. I just said like the Hawks, I'm not sure.
I think you have to. I think you have to extrapolate out what you think will happen a little bit as well. You know,
for sure. No, of course. I'm just saying, like, for instance, like this is kind of my thoughts on it. Like, I think there's only 5 teams in the East who I think automatically for sure have a him. They deserve one. And it's a matter of who is it.
Yeah.
I mean, the West is probably similar. I think fewer teams. I think I'm pretty stingy with the him title. It's a little bit less than superstar, where I'm like, there might be 2 superstars on a few teams even. And once a superstar, always a superstar.
Him doesn't apply to fewer hymns. You think there's fewer hymns than superstars, but not in the NFL. You don't think that?
No, I think it's similar. It's closer to the same number in the NFL. I think.
All right.
Yeah. But it's still stingier.
Because there's 2 sides of the ball. I get it.
Right. Well, because like I said, Tyreek Hill in the NFL could be a superstar along with Jalen Waddle. They're not both him. They're not both getting the ball on 3rd and long or something.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this up with one more guy, and we are on the time for our NBA show. So we're going to wrap this. We're going to get picks in. We're just going to privately get picks in for Thursday. We're going to get picks in on Friday. I'm going to put on like a 5-minute timer to break so that I can text the NBA list. And then we're going to come back with some more NBA content. And we're going to do all of our spins at the end. So sorry if you're just an NFL fan and you don't want to sit through NBA. We're going to do all of our spins at the end. We're trying to be a little bit more on time here. Last one, Josh Dobbs. Is he him?
I mean, why not? Why not Josh Dobbs be him? I don't really believe that, but I'd love to see that actually happen. I'd love to see that be the case. I think he's deserving of it.
I think you have to go with a full like extrapolate out. You know, is the Pastronaut the guy? You know, I don't know.
I'll say this: if Josh Dobbs can do enough to be the guy going forward there, I mean, Justin Jefferson. I can't. It's Justin Jefferson.
Sure,
but
yeah.
Josh Dobbs. Okay, here's how Josh Dobbs is him starting next season for anybody. This is the only real way. He just plays great enough for another team, like let's say the Patriots, some team in quarterback trouble who needs a quarterback. They get a guy like Josh Dobbs and they go, "You're him. Like, do what you've done for your entire career,
do that
playing
thing.
Backyard bullshit, and win us a ton of games. I mean, he deserves to be him. He's just a victim of a circumstance right now. But he's just, that's all. I can't believe how much Josh Dobbs has had to prove in this league. He needs a starting spot next year.
Yeah.